Hey, Wanda. Hello, Nancy.
Hi. How are you?
I am doing fine.
Good. Are there a lot of people who are?
We had about 10 people signed up. We'll see how many
Okay.
show up.
Okay.
We had one last week, and we had, I think, 5 out of the 6 people showed up. Something like so. One never knows.
Yeah.
I mean, there's still 2 minutes to go.
I know.
I'm just looking to see if we had any last minute signups. Actually, we did. So it's showing 11 registrants right now. So we'll see.
Sounds good.
And where are you from?
Kennybunk?
Well, you're not too far away.
Nope.
We used to do a lot of work with Kennybunk, who was the principal down at the elementary school. Steve. Stephen.
Oh, there's Corey Steer.
No, this was a few years back. So
Oh, okay.
There's Seth Mitchell. Yo, Seth.
Hello. Been a long time, Tom. Nice to see you.
Yeah, I'm still alive, apparently. How that happened, I don't know, but
I just got done a staff meeting and came right here, so I've just scoot out to the restroom. I'm going to return momentarily. Be right back.
I'm going to give people another minute and go fill up my drink right over here. You know, I had fixed these little wings over here, that the white parts that were showing up, and it went away. I got to go back and fix it again. Technology, I don't know. Perhaps people are just being a little slow today. Let me see. Let's see. We used to work with Matt Jackins down at Kennybunk.
Yep.
And trying to remember who else it was. Oh well, I have to go back a long way. Not that it matters. I'm just chewing up time. You see,
Yeah.
if anybody else shows up. I'm going to give folks maybe 2 more minutes and we'll get started because you're here on time.
Sounds good. That's how I am now.
So what have you been up to, Seth?
It was you know, it was a busy year as a tech integrator to keep everybody in business last year. So it was a lot of getting everybody up to speed very quickly. Lego robotics, we kind of just took the year off. It was just too challenging for us to figure out equity and get everybody what they needed. But we had a remote VEX year, and that wasn't great either. But my VEX teams are off and running. I have 29 kids participating this year, which is for a community of our size, it's a large group. So I'm excited about that.
And the robot track meet should be back this spring.
Excellent.
We haven't gotten dates ironed out yet because, well, you know, it's September. I ask people that now, hey, in May, would you like to do this? And they're going to look at me like, I'm not even going to talk to you. Go away.
Yeah. The landscape can certainly change very quickly. So we're supposed to host a VEX tournament here in Monmouth in February, and I haven't even finalized it. You know, we have the like rough okay, but who knows what it's going to look like by winter. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, everybody I've talked to, it's better than last year, but there's just this giant question mark over everybody's head. And I get it. I mean, that's where we live right now. So I'm trying to be pragmatic about it, but still move forward. All right, so I think I know we've got Nancy and whomever else. Welcome aboard. So we have five folks and myself in the meeting at the moment. We may see others join in. It's oh, I'm sorry, it was Amy that popped in there. Hi, Nancy. Sorry, I didn't mean to drag you back out of obscurity. I had seen another person come in. I'm going to go ahead and get started. You folks were mostly on time, so I don't want to keep you just sitting here. I'm going to share my screen. All right. So let me I want to make sure I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. We'll do that again in a second. Okay, I am all set. Every time I try to share it, it moves I've got dual screen, so I'm good there. And I'm going to walk through just a short set of slides. If you've had a chance to read through the rules and regulations and all of that, this is our inaugural year. I can think through the problems to the best of my ability to try to think of where will the snags come, where will the questions be. I would anticipate we'll have a lot of updates as the questions come in over the course of this fall semester's project. So I'm running it out of the USM STEM Outreach and Services program. I'm still technically the director of Maine Robotics because that is now part of USM. So if you knew me in those days, I'm still doing all the same things. I have a few more hats hanging on the hat tree over here that go along with it. I'm going to take one slide to promo us. I'm responsible for pretty much all of the K-12 STEM outreach programs here at USM. I don't run them all, but I'm supposed to coordinate them all and make sure they get what they need and start up some new ones. We've seen a couple of startup just in this past year. It now also includes all of our previous Maine robotics programs. And we have, we're still doing the Robot Track Meet Association events in Maine. We just ran a really successful summer STEM camp program. I'm now the director, technically, even though I'm not. A person who runs it is the Southworth Planetarium, falls under our purview now. And we've got this all new Maine STEM film challenge. What is it? Well, obviously it's about making STEM films. And I don't know, my hat keeps wavering. All right, bald head doesn't waver as much as the hat does. And we're breaking it up into 4 divisions, pretty much elementary, middle school, high school, and college. And that way, different groups will be competing against groups of their own general area. I have no idea how many people are going to apply this year to host teams and register and upload their videos. We'll talk about when that happens in a few minutes. Obviously, for those who forgot, STEM is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And I'll talk about that in a little bit. And there are, of course, some specific rules to be followed. And these are completely listed out in the full PDF document that's available online. But we'll breeze through them fairly quickly here.
Tom, I'm sorry to interrupt. Are you sharing slides by any chance?
I was supposed to be. Are they?
I think we're just seeing maybe your other monitor.
All right, hold on. It's on that monitor. Hold on.
I was just seeing another Zoom participant screen.
Gotcha. Is that better?
Yeah, there we go. Sorry, I just didn't want to let you go too far before I spoke. I wasn't sure, and then so.
All right, two brownie points for Seth. See, if you raise your hand, folks, you get extra brownie points. Let me find I've got the chat window open on my end, so if you feel a need to ask a question, I should see that pop up. Even with 2 screens, everything's covered at the moment. So we've got those 4 divisions. You have to base your division based on the oldest child on or the oldest grade level on your team. So if you happen to be a 5th grade, then you're going to be in that 1st division. If you have 8th, 9th, and 10th graders, you'd be in the 9 through 12 division, even though you've got 8th graders on your team. Doesn't matter to me who's on there. I just needed to break it up. We didn't want college level students competing with 5th graders and 4th graders and 3rd graders. Perhaps after this year, we'll negotiate it if there is an obvious better division that would make sense. Now, if we get 800 people applying, we get lots and lots of videos, we could make really, really small divisions. But that's what it's going to be at the moment. Teams can be 1 to 25 students. We try to cover it from the individual who's sitting at home doing this, maybe some homeschoolers, a kid who wants to do it after school, a college student, or an entire class. So if this is going to be a class project, I think that will cover most of the students. Let me know if 25 doesn't cover all of it. Now, if you have, and this is just me thinking about things, I have 10 kids in my class that are going to actually be responsible for creating a STEM video. And then we've got another 3 students over in the technology department. Maybe I'm a high school, and some of the high schools like UTC in Bangor has their own video program where the students do video. And you might be using some of those students, but those have to be counted as your students as well. And then you might have kids in the video, in the music department that want to do the music for the background, so that they'll be the next, see, I'm totally blanking on a good name for movie sound bites, and what do you call that? Theme songs and, dun, 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 dun.
Score? Yeah.
Well, I was doing Star Wars, but sure, go for it. You have to have an adult mentor. That's going to get a little funky when you get into college. Could they have an adult who's not, who's themselves? I haven't answered that question yet, because if I was 20 years old in college, do I really need a coach? Probably not. We don't charge for coaches, so it doesn't matter in that respect. But anything that's in the K-12 really should have an adult mentor. And part of the reason for that is that way our primary contact is through an adult at a school, a homeschool, a parent, doesn't, someplace. It also assures that we know there's an adult who knows what the youth are doing. Complete videos are from 3 to 10 minutes. That means titles, content, and credits are between 3 and 10 minutes. The titles can't be longer than 20 seconds. So, I mean, you could have it for 5 seconds, 10 seconds, whatever, just not longer than 20. No sense of having 1 minute of title, 1 minute of content, and 1 minute of credits at the end. You don't have enough time to do anything. And then for the credits at the end, you need to include everybody. I put a link on our resources page for references to how the film industry and the video industry generally do their credits in terms of what to include in what order. Where do you put logos if you need to put logos, whatever you want to do. You could keep it simple, or you could make it as professional looking as you want, but it can't exceed 20% of your entire film length. So if your entire film is going to be 3 minutes long, then back out 36 seconds of it for your credits, and it can't be longer than that. Well, actually, it can't be longer than that. Never mind. I'll be quiet. I'm rambling. Spent way too much time sitting alone in an office. I feel like Stephen Colbert sometimes. Obviously, if you go with a 10-minute film, you cannot have credits longer than 120 seconds because that's 20% of 10 minutes. You can, and we'll have the uploads available in November. You'll be able to upload MP4s, movies, Windows, Windows movie file. I forget what the WMVs, it's the Windows format, FLVs, AVIs, and WebM video files. If you have something else, let me know and I can check to see if it's compatible with what we're using at this end. I've been asked whether or not we want to allow YouTube uploads. In other words, just give us a link to a YouTube that you generated. And technically, I'm okay with that. I wasn't sure I wanted to make sure everybody had to go out and create YouTube accounts. So anyway, we'll take some comments on that as we go through. Every source that you use, whether it's a person, a video file, an image, an audio that's backing it up, whoever worked on it, all of that's got to be accredited or attributed in your video. It could be a little subtitle at the bottom. Well, we spoke to Tom Bickford at USM, blah, blah, blah. And that way you've attributed where you're getting the information from, or it could be in the credits. If you use like a good example is NASA. NASA has an awful lot of both video and images that are free public domain images. And if you want to use those, you should still attribute them to where they came from. About the only exception you should have, and you would still put something in your credits, the 4 images that make up the logo for the Maine STEM Film Challenge are specifically Creative Commons open source, no attribution required. So I went out and found ones that were free to use, and I didn't have to worry about ever giving anybody credit. So you can do that. I probably should have at the end of our rules thing said, and the images for our logo came from free source, no attribution required website. And I'll go back out one of these days when I get a minute and add that into our rules. But I very specifically did that. We're trying to have a webinar. Well, we are going to have it. We haven't got the date yet. Set up with the USM Library Educational Outreach Office. And they're going to do a webinar. We'll record it on using Creative Commons licensed materials in your, and where to find it and how to attribute it. Any questions so far? You can also, well, you can't, I mean, it's just a, if you haven't been to our website, I'll go there later. There's where you can find the link for the rules download. Any STEM topic. Can't say it any more plainly than that. Science, you know, space, biology, chemistry, physics, health, ecology, geology, energy, I don't care. Anything with an ology on it's probably fair game. In engineering, you know, when I'm talking to kids, when I'm doing educational programs where I'm actually teaching, I've identified over 50 engineering classifications, and there's probably 100 more. There are engineers who specialize in ketchup out there. They're ketchup engineers. Why? Because it's $1 billion industry and they know everything about ketchup and how to produce it, how to modify it, how to, you know, to work with it. It's kind of a cross between a chemical and food engineer. So, I mean, you could do a report on ketchup engineers and what's behind that. I just use that as one of my bizarre examples because they really exist. They probably don't call themselves ketchup engineers. They are probably food science engineers or something like that. But if you spend your entire career doing nothing but ketchup, you're a ketchup engineer. Technology. This is, when we talk about STEM, I rooted around for where the definition came from for technology when they use it in STEM. And it was the tools and practices used within the other fields to do those fields. So if you're in biomedical, well, let me pick something. If you're in biology, the technology part might be the development of the salinity gauge that you're using when you go out and you do your marine sampling. Now, an engineer might design that and prototype it, but a technologist is the one who might use it in order to help the biologists, who are the scientists, to gather that data out in the field. I mean, I know it's carving things up. I don't care whether you call it, oh, I'm doing a technology video or a science video. Just realize that if it falls under those categories, it's covered. Mathematics, anything in mathematics. You probably might have seen that recent thing that they just broke the record again for how many digits of pi somebody was trying to go out to, and they spent like a week of a supercomputer's time, pushed it out to something like 1.5 trillion decimal or, you know, digits. I love math, but I don't think I'm ever going to spend my life trying to figure out the 2 trillionth digit of pi. Just won't be me. And then we do have the category of history. So maybe you want to do the history of a particular STEM topic. I'll give you kind of a cool example. It was within, call it sports science. And we all know if we love watching hockey, my wife's a hockey fanatic, she loves it. And all the players wear helmets. They didn't always all wear helmets. Anybody know who was the very first person to wear a helmet in hockey? It was a Canadian college woman on a Canadian college's women's hockey team whose dad had just paid several $1,000s for dental work and refused to let her play if she didn't wear a helmet. Now, the NHL did not start allowing their players to wear helmets in games until a hockey player literally took a skate to the face and ended up with like 15 stitches, but they were the only hockey player on that team that day. This is for a National Hockey League. And the team would have had to forfeit if they couldn't put a goalie back out on the ice. I don't know the rules. I'm not a hockey fanatic. And the hockey player refused to go back out without his practice helmet and face mask. And so they threatened to fine him. They threatened to do all sorts of things. And the reason I'm saying this is this huge, everything has a story behind it. Now, that's some history, but you would need to include some of the science behind it. So what do they do to make hockey helmets and masks work in today's, field? I don't know, but there's a history behind every single thing you can imagine. What's the history behind the Hubble telescope? What's the history behind scuba gear? What's the history behind, geometry and when that was first documented and how it's changed over the years? It's fairly open. Computer science, crosses just about every single possible topic. So I didn't include it specifically, but it's a science in its own right. There's a whole field of engineering, whole technology field, and of course, a huge amount of mathematics that go along with it. Any questions so far? Things not to do. You've got to have a focus. If you send in a video that lacks a focus, that is kind of rambling, that it's not clear what it is you're trying to portray, then of course it's going to be fairly low scoring. It has to have facts as its basis for its presentation. That doesn't mean you can't throw in a what if, where, well, this is where we think it's going, but we don't have the facts for it yet. But you should not base your entire presentation and video on that. So actually, I broke that down into 2 bullet points. Projects that lack a factual basis, and then projects that lacked sufficient facts for the video. I'm trying to think. Hyperdrives are at the moment, non-factual topic. So you'd be hard pressed to find sufficient facts currently. There's a lot of theories out there, but we might want to leave that for next year. And if we get a lot of people this year, then there's a lot of people asking for, well, what about what the future might bring? So kind of bring it back to things that exist, have existed, have evolved over time. And it's fine to put in a what if as a poser at the end of your video, but maybe that really shouldn't be the entire video. Topics that are too complicated for the general public to understand. So if you grabbed, if you held this at your school, hey, we want our kids to show you the video they created, and you end up with nothing but glazed over eyeballs for all of the parents that came to watch their kids' video, then you've probably gone overboard, or it's been presented in a manner that lacks enough common focus for the average person to understand what they're doing. In graduate school, I did a lot with Fourier transforms, which is a mathematical field, and used in engineering a lot. I hope never to go back there, but it's a really cool topic. And it would boggle most people who do calculus. So guaranteed not something you should be including in a, for the general public, 3 to 10 minute video. Shows that rely on the students as primary parts of the video. So we don't want to have, hi, I'm Tom Bickford. Oh, that's interesting. My yellow marker is getting all the background. But how about the pink one? Oh, there we go. If this is my microphone. Hi, I'm Tom Bickford. I'm going to talk to you today about steam engines and blah, 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 and go on it. And so you're a talking head throughout the whole video. No. Think of it more as a documentary. Now, because Seth is the only other one I see a video of, said, so Seth, can you tell me about, your work on the such and such a project? You work at the accelerator, the mass, what do they call the accelerator? The serial.
Photon, the collider?
Yeah, the collider. So your work at the collider there in Switzerland or wherever it is has been really fascinating. Can you tell me what the biggest discovery you've made? And so you can have at least part of your film. Should not be all of your film like that. You could have more of Seth and less of me. You can get free picture-in-picture software that allows you, I'll post that. I haven't posted it yet. It's a software package that lets you import 2 different video sources into one, and then you use that as your stream or your source for whatever your capture device is, whether it's your software program that you're using for video. A lot of the video programs will let you do picture-in-picture with 2 different sources. Anyway, and don't be afraid of using Zoom as one of your things that will get you some of your video for feeding into your thing, especially if you're doing interviews with people. No skits, and no skits. This really should be presenting images, videos, like I said, maybe some short interviews, things that will allow the audience to garner as much visual information as they can, backed up with audio information or textual information that's also presented on the screen, and let it go, in that manner. Now, who knows, if we get 60 people presenting videos this year and we want to have a skits option next year, we could do that. Parodies, not this year, but maybe in future years we'll have kids make STEM parodies. I'm not sure. Sorry, there we go. Evaluation. So 40% of the film's evaluation is on its content merit. How factually and accurately did they give their information, and was it able to be followed coherently from start to finish? 40% goes for artistic delivery. Is the material of a high enough resolution that you're not just looking at pixels? Is the audio such that it's not? And I watched some videos that kids had done elsewhere in the country, and the video is all over the place. I think we can find folks who could help you if you get stuck on not being able to set the audio on your video editing software or on your video capture software or your audio software, whatever it is, let me know. I mean, check with your technology integrator first, right, Seth? And if not, we can try to put you in touch with some of the folks who are out there that know that. I've certainly had to play with it. I have made, some short videos. I've done classroom videos at jobs where I had to actually do the classroom part and have it be a class over Zoom. And I've created commercials and things like that that Maine Robotics has used for years. Not saying they're all great, but I know dealing with the audio is one of the things people get stuck on. Adding background music, which a lot of documentaries have, can, particularly if there's no one talking, can help set the mood and the image. And there's a bazillion free audio files available. And I've got some of those resources on our resources page so that you can go out and grab those. Again, as long as you attribute where they came from, you can do that. So if you've got a minute at the beginning where you're showing some cool images, or there's video, a lot of the NASA video doesn't necessarily have audio behind it. You know, you might want to add audio so it's not as dry as just watching a video with nothing in the background. If you do audio in the background with talk over, make sure the audio is in the background so you can hear the person talking. There's a 10% for just technical merit. You know, are you going to get dinged because your titles went 22 seconds? You might. You know, did you have a chaotic order in your credits? If you have no titles and no credits, you're not going to be reviewed. And if you have no citations throughout, then you're going to get disqualified. If you don't have enough, you know, it's like, well, they had 3 videos that they showed, but no references to where they came from, then you're going to get dinged on that 10% for your technical evaluation. And then lastly, we've got 10% reserved for making your videos accessible. This is another reason why we may end up allowing YouTube, because if you're familiar with YouTube, if you provide audio or captioning, YouTube can auto generate that in up to, I think it's 108 different languages right now, which would be an awesome way to add some accessibility to what you're doing. Adding ASL or subtitles is another good way. If you present it in English and provide it with Spanish or another language subtitles, that would be a way to do it. Making sure that you have visual aids that back up any of the auditory information. So if I'm sitting here and I'm talking about, well, there's 40% this, 40% that, 10% this, 10% that, and I'm talking to a group that is not auditorily capable, or that's not their primary learning goal, then I've missed fully impacting them. Whereas if I have them listed out as I'm talking, you know, then it helps a lot better. I don't know. Again, our first year, I'm interested to see what folks do. You're not required to have accessibility, but it would cap your score at 90% if you skip it in all forms. Awards, you know, best in each of those different divisions, and also most creatively presented STEM film. So who's got the best film this year? So you could end up with a couple. And then one for the most accessible STEM film across all the divisions. Right now, we're working on some cool trophy designs with the MIST lab here on the USM campus. So we're hoping, I mean, they'll be 3-dimensional, they'll be large, they should be worth it. Seth, you know me, I love passing out trophies. Don't know if we'll do ribbons or medals this year. Part of the problem is I may not have lead time for that, not knowing how many folks we're going to have. Final registration will be between, and by registration, that happens when you upload your film. So at that time, you need to know how many people are in your team. You need to arrange for a PO or a payment, and you register, hit the upload link, and submit your video. And at that point, you know, it's not until people are doing that that we'll know how many people we would have to get ribbons or medals or whatever for. I would love to. So we'll see what happens. It's also, I'm anticipating that a lot of this will be online. Obviously, anybody who wins trophies that's not here, it'd probably be like the Academy Awards, hi, Seth, you're in the final running. You might want to be here. Just letting you know. And then, you can choose whether or not you want to travel to Portland or not. The awards ceremony, well, I should fall back on December 4th at the Southworth Planetarium at USM. And if we need to, in room 165, which is a big theater classroom, we will be showcasing the films that have been presented. They'll be showcased based on their divisions, so that, hey, from this time frame, we're going to be showing all the K5s, 6/8s, 9/12s, and college. It may, get bumped around a little bit just based on how many we got from each of the divisions. And then at the end of it, we will have, at the end of each group, so when we're done with the K5s, we can present the K5 award. And then at the end of all of them, we'll present the most creative and the most accessible awards. If we have enough, I'll certainly have second or third place trophies as well. It all depends on how many people sign up. Questions so far?
You're probably getting to this. Are you going to talk about the costs?
Sure, I
Okay.
can. I don't think I had a slide for it.
Okay.
Had you looked at our rules yet?
I was poking around on the website and I'm probably missing something really obvious, and I didn't see the link for the rules. So that's my.
I'll go look there. Be proactive. I mean, feel free to send me an email if you know my email, but Maine STEM Film Competition at maine.edu. So MSFC at maine.edu. And as questions come in, we've already added a couple to our FAQ, which I'll show you where that is on the website as well. Resources. And again, if you went to our Maine STEM Film Challenge website, if you hit the programs, you'll see the Maine STEM Film Challenge. And if you mouse over that, then you get What is STEM, which lists all of the things I could think of, but it's not limited to those. And then there's your Maine Science Film Challenge resources page. And that's where you'd go to find that. This button over here, the MSFC resources, is gone. It was a bad link. I'll try to put it back in again, probably tomorrow. So that's pretty much it. Let me escape out of here. What are you seeing now? My screen? Or did the share?
Yes.
Yeah. So if we go here, this is the Maine STEM Film Challenge. And there's the rules are right here.
Yeah, I found it 30 seconds after saying I couldn't find it, and
Yep.
it just blended in with me visually with the
Yep.
contact form.
Yep.
And so I looked right by it 10 times looking for it. So I apologize.
Yeah. Oh, no problem. There's the What is STEM link I put in. And if I go up here, programs, this MSFC resources page, I'll add another button down here for that. You can go to the team pre-registration right there. It takes you out. It doesn't cost you anything. There's no obligation. But if you want to make sure that I keep emailing you with updates, then I need to know who you are. And if you think you're going to have, one team, 5 teams, 1 kid, 3 kids, 50 kids or whatever. So that's where you're going to get that. I've got I don't suppose you see the PDF file now, do you?
No.
I share.
I do have it pulled up on my own.
Zoom doesn't like to show files. It likes, let me see. It's not going to let me. Hold on, I can show it in a different format. If you give me a second. I can show you the original Google document. Zoom doesn't let me, am I wrong? It's not letting me share the PDF on my computer.
We use Google Meet here at school, so I'm not as Zoom savvy.
Yep. It's probably
But-
just me. Give me a second and I'll pull this.
But I was able to, I don't know if the other participants could, I was able to pull up the PDF. I kind of have it right next to the Zoom window.
Um, bam, bam, bam. So, this is and I would apologize, but I never apologize for this kind of stuff. I think it's 23 pages long. It has table of contents, overview, the different categories, a little bit about mentors. Here's our time schedule. So we've released it. We've got some informational webinars coming up, which haven't been finalized yet. Final projects are due for evaluation. That means you have to upload those, be registered and uploaded by November 20th. So you've got 2 months from now. We'll have the judge review is due by December 2nd. Then we have our finals. The actual film festival and award celebration on December 4th in Portland. Cost right there, boom. So right now we're doing $25 per person. So a team of 1 would be $25. If you had a class of 25, that's the other end of it. It kind of goes into a sliding scale. It'd be $325 for an entire class of 25. So it's, it's better than a field trip, but it's not free. I wish I could say that we were on anybody's line item. We aren't. So like when I was running Maine Robotics, we had to raise any of the funds that go along with it. If you are a school district and have lots of kids that you want, let me know and we'll do something creative. But if you're a homeschool with 2 kids, $50. And so we've tried to make it reasonable. Next year, if we can find some sponsors, we might be able to have it free. But we always like to have a little skin in the game for everybody. Anyway, questions about that? Pre-registration, a little bit of how to make your show. Things, that you could, how do you want to present it? Video and voice, video and captions, video and ASL. If you can manage to do a really captivating one without any video or images, it would really only be an audio. And I'm not sure we could call it a film, but I have no ideas. I'm open to somebody picking up the gauntlet to that challenge. There's the criteria, our judging team, the awards, things that do or don't work, resources, place to go to check stuff out, copyright and attribution issues. Like here's an example. If this was in my video, I could just add a caption that says where the image was from. And I could also put it at the end of the video. Season outline, pre-registration is going on right now. Next 2 months, people are going to be making videos. Final registration and upload will occur. Those will go off to be evaluated. We will probably post them all out. I've got a question into our IT department whether or not we want to service them locally or just YouTube them. And then the film festival in December 4th. So that's the timeline. How to contact us. There's some appendices, possible credits to include. This is the challenge rubric that we plan to use, so that you'll know what the students will be expected to meet in terms of getting the highest possible scores. This is the rest of the rubric. This is the team profile sheet. It's a 2-pager. Part of it gives us all the information we need about you, and part of it is scrubbed of any of that information, and that's what will go to the judges. So the judges won't know it's coming from Monmouth or Portland or whatever school. They will only know the name of the film, the topic, their descriptor, comments about it, comments about the team, and then which of the categories. Oops, see, I've got to correct that. College is in there. I need to change that. And I think, and those are the 2 webinars we've already had so far. That's it. Questions? Let me show you the resources. Oh,
Hey, Tom, this is Valli here.
Yep.
I'm a parent of a middle schooler.
Sure.
I was wondering if you're going to communicate out this to the K-12 schools in Maine, because I'm not aware that some of the science teacher knows about this. So I don't know if there is any communication out to the schools.
Yes, it requires a certain degree of magic. It's gone out to all of the science teacher and math teacher listservs and the computer science teachers.
Okay.
So we put it out on all of the listservs, which is the easy, low-hanging fruit. We've been putting it out on our Facebook and actually boosted those out. So it's been seen by, I don't know, 10,000 people by now here in Maine, hoping that that will filter through.
Okay.
The last thing I have left to do is try to email each of the schools. And we have a different website that does that. And it's on my list of things to do next week. It should have been 3 weeks ago, but there's only so many moments in the day. And the problem is that list changes. And I haven't uploaded or downloaded the state of Maine's list of resources, that include all the contact information for each school each year. And it changes so much each year that I do that every fall, and it's the fall and I haven't done it yet. But yes, if I can get that out ASAP, I will. It's when Maine Robotics moved to USM, the process occurred during the pandemic. And so we went from an office of, I used to have an office of 4 people to do it all. Right now we're 1. And we're trying to get back up to 2. And that means that some of our administrivia, it just takes a lot to do it. I ask for forgiveness, and we'll move from there.
Okay, I got you. So, so do you mind if I forward this information over to some of the teachers in the school so that they're aware, and maybe, we can form a team in the school and stuff like that, right?
Absolutely. I would highly recommend it. If you know anybody that you want to share it with, you go right ahead. The links are, if you went to mainrobotics.org, which is still our landing page, you'll see that logo. Click that, and then you'll get the URL that you can give out to everybody.
Sounds good. Thank you.
I did want to show folks. So if we go to the resources page, what I've started to put here, these aren't mine. I've looked at them all, but I'm not sanctioning them or encouraging them in any way, shape, or form. A list of best free editing, video editing software. Really nice video. It's, I think, 13 minutes on how to storyboard your video so that your teams can start thinking about what order do they want to present their material. And then that's like writing your outline for your paper. There's a lot of information on the Creative Commons website. I haven't put down anything for audio editing yet. If anybody knows, feel free to shoot it my way. Do schools have free use of Adobe? I can't remember. No.
No. They're Adobe Spark.
Yep.
They can use, but the rest of the products you can get volume purchasing through Actum, but that's about it.
And the reason why I say that is because if you have a license, you can access the stock adobe.com. I'm pretty sure, which is probably one of the nicest libraries of video, images, and audio that I've seen. But it's not free if you don't already have Adobe. Upbeat.io has a really nice audio library. There's a lot of them out there. And I know I used to use one, I couldn't find it right offhand, where you literally go in, what genre do you want? How long do you want it? I need something that's 3 minutes and 23 seconds long. And they'll show you ones that are, approximately that age, that are new age or whatever genre I had selected. It's elevator music for the most part, but it's free. And you just download the file, and then in your video editing software, you drop it into the, to the slot that you want to use for the audio overlay. And then you can adjust the audio volume for that track and move from there. There's a couple of videos I'd like to make to throw on here. I'm not an expert in this. I'm an expert at running programs. So, that's what I'm trying to do. There's a nice Storybinder put out a really nice page on how to do film credits. So you can look at that. There are tons of, if you went to YouTube, how do I scroll credits using PowerPoint on my video? And there are ways to do that, because if you can do it in PowerPoint, you can export it as a video and then drag that into your video editing software and have that be your titles or your credit section of your video. And just about everybody has access to PowerPoint. So that's something to keep in mind. I know Apple has a whole suite of applications to do video editing. So there's a lot of stuff out there. A lot of it's free. And if you feel like you really want to buy something, there's no restriction on that. What do I use? I have both Pinnacle Studio from Corel, and I'm pretty sure I have Adobe Visual Studio 2019. They're both paid softwares. I've used them for different things. So you may have something totally different that was paid for, or you want to spring for a $30 product or a $30 image library or audio library. That's all up to you. Any questions? Oh, I think we're losing folks, but I think that was all I wanted to show. Any questions, Seth?
I don't think so. Thanks, Tom. I appreciate the time, and I'm going to, in my position, it's about selling to teachers and trying to find some partners. So, yep. I feel equipped to go and find some collaborators potentially, and then I'll get interest first, and then work on funding after, once I know we have people who want to run.
Yeah, and by all means, if any particular school wants to invite me for a Zoom chat, so you're starting to get things together, or you want me to come in and chat with teachers just so there's another face, you know how that works. If Seth says it, Seth's always telling us stuff. Right. Oh, who's this Tom fella? Yeah, I'm open to whatever. Okay. Just give me a holler. Same old adage I've always used is, if I can do it from my chair, it's free. If you want me to come out to your school, I'm going to charge you, because I don't have a budget for it. But Zoom is a wonderful way to spread it out.
Absolutely.
Thank you for the information, Tom.
Yeah. Thank you, Tom. Bye.
Thank you.